The eighth house deals with symbolism of your choices and attitudes in emotional bonding in relationships. So, drop a comment, let me know if you have any planets or signs or which sign you have in the eighth house. The eighth house is an indication of your most intimate relationships with and trust in your personal power instincts. So the eighth house is a symbolism of the challenges of your own personal power within the process of aligning with a partner's value and resources to form a balanced relationship. So the eighth house is a water house, and water is a symbol for our emotions. And because this is a transpersonal house, it is symbolizing the unconscious aspect of ourselves. The symbolism of this house is to gain consciousness of these subtle forces, because you can be swept off your feet by compulsive instincts and rages of appetites that are self-destructive. And of course, we always have a choice, and you could choose to purify yourself emotionally through responsible actions, or you can engage in toxic behavior. And if you have, planets in the eighth house, it is best for you to search for a pure expression of your personal power. There is the urge for bonding. Even though the seventh house deals with partnership, the eighth house is bonding with that partner on a emotional level. And there is this powerful urge when you have planets in the eighth house to bond, but to sometimes people with this urge often forget that they are an equal in the relationship, and sometimes will give up their personal power. But also there's always the opposite end of things. So sometimes you have people who do have planets in the eighth house, and they have a fear of close emotional rapport within love relationships, as the commitment to one person is frightening, and it will feel like an ego death. And even though Scorpio usually symbolizes sexuality, people with planets in the eighth house are not always sexually active or passionate. And sometimes people with planets with the eighth house can become monastically oriented. And it will seem as if these type of people will seek a more metaphysical, occult, spiritual forces to bond with, rather than the process of being within a relationship with others. And you can say these type of individuals utilize their passion or direct their passion to experiencing higher states of consciousness, but it's not saying that all people with eighth house are like this. But a lot of astrology books will tell you the eighth house is a heavy indicator of sexual promiscuity. And those with experimental planets such as Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter in the eighth house may be more, or may have a more, desire for a diversity in their relationships. But the theme of the eighth house is indicative of your faithful intensity to form a very close emotional and physical bond with someone else. The eighth house is very private, and someone with planets in the eighth house may be very much in touch with their personal power, or they can be overindulgent in privacy and secrecy that they become emotionally retarded. And because they have a unconscious fear, this can keep them separated from their personal power, and it will take them a powerful self-transformation to break through these walls. And that's my son in the background. If you hear a noise behind me, low, it's not like you can see me, but making a whole bunch of noise. But let's keep going. So sexuality can be a vital issue for individuals with strong focus in the 8th house. The use of their sexual energy can be an important question or problem with sexual compatibility in relationship. And trust is often a problem within relationships and may be the main issue leading to sexual incompatibility, providing there are not bodily problems. Trust is essential in this house, and most individuals are quite sensitive about their sexual identity, and trust is usually what makes a deep emotional sexual bond possible. Trust is the main factor in fostering a loving experience which is filled with mutual respect for each other's personal power and allowing a mutual sharing of each other's physical and emotional resources to flow harmoniously. The positive expression of the 8th house is the capacity to form close, emotionally bonding relationships without sacrificing one's individuality. There is a mutual sharing that does not detract from either person's personal power. There is a need to manage and share resources. And going back to the theme of sexuality, the ability to enjoy mutually satisfying sexual expression is also a positive theme of this house. And on the flip side, the negative aspects of the 8th house expression is trying to control or manipulate the personal power of someone else. This can be the other person's emotional expression, sexual energy, or material possessions. The dysfunctional expression of this house is typified by a power-hungry person who is completely out of touch with a balanced expression of power urges. They usually use or compensate by controlling others. And if there is a lack of confidence in your sexuality, this can also be problematic, as can someone who exude a strong sexuality to hide insecurities. And repressed or secretive emotional nature can also be a negative aspect, as is an individual's complete surrender of his own personal power to others. And that's it for the 8th house issues. Make sure you like and follow. Ciao.